Should boys and girls be taught in separated classrooms? So, should children be separated at any time in their development age because of their genders, something they have no control over? I personally don't think that it's a good idea because, in my opinion, I believe that places of learning, all people should coexist. To live in the world, we all need to learn how to get along. And how well we get along really depends on our social skills. Now, children develop these skills pretty early on when they begin to play with other children and interact with other people. So the question is, in order to create a world where there's more cooperation and more understanding, would it be wrong or wise to have children being kept in classrooms that are only girls or only boys? In 2000, this is when single-sex education really began to take off. In fact, David Holthouse actually stated that in 2002, there were 11 public schools in the United States that had sex-segregated classrooms. However, in 2009, there were 550. That's 50 times the amount in less than a decade. Now, the reason that single-sex education and why its idea is beginning to take off is because boys and girls, they develop differently in both physical and mental ways. Boys tend to be more brash and outspoken. However, they are more hesitant to share their feelings and have a greater fear of failure. And this causes their participation in class to be slightly lower than it would be for girls. Now, girls are shown to be much more shy, but they do have better precision and a better skill set that is better to be equipped in a classroom. At the same time, the hyperactivity and the shyness really can depend on the child itself, not just the gender. And there are also many other factors that can contribute and affect a child's learning ability. So we might also have to consider what else would affect a child besides the gender of their fellow classmates. And we also have to look that sometimes children's, even if they're boys or girls, they treat boys or girls the same way. Like sometimes we are more friendly and nice when it comes to girls, when we were more laid back and playful when it comes to boys. An example is actually in the film The Little Rascals. All the children are separated by gender, and they all basically have very sexist viewpoints of each other. And they believe that interacting with each other is the highest form of treason, and that they shouldn't ever communicate with each other. There's actually a setting in the movie called the He-Man Woman Haters Club. Now, in the end, they all learn to get along and willingly coexist in their environment. But this is viewpoints that no matter if you're a girl or a boy, you can treat each other exactly the same. I am very ashamed to admit it, but I actually behaved a lot like the children in this film when I was younger. I was the little girl who loved shouting, "Girls rule and boys drool." So when I was younger, there was a new school opening in my school district that allowed single-sex education. And I begged my parents to let me go there because I wanted to be in an only girl classroom. However, they decided it wasn't best for me, and I am grateful for that, because it would benefit me in the long run to stay where I was in a public school. Because I needed to learn how to interact with boys and get along with them. Because had I gone to a single-sex educational school, then I wouldn't know how to interact with men and deal with them in the long run. So I would have been put at a disadvantage if I went there. And not only with communication and with social skills, but most likely in the same gender, kids have similar learning abilities and disabilities. So like in autism, that can occur with all types of children, not only boys or girls. So if we put children in a classroom, in a neutral gender classroom, and we try reaching out to all students. We reach out to all of them and we see what they need, and we see if they need extra help, if they need another method, what they need to give them the greatest capability, instead of just looking at only girls or boys and using only girls and boys techniques. Because if we give them other techniques, expose them to other kids' problems, they see other types of problems in the world and learn their solutions as well. So they're getting more exposure in the long run. And also, by having both girls and boys classrooms, we're promoting inclusion, and we don't deny kids any of their rights to a classroom because of who they are. Like, a girl can't go to this school because she's a girl, and a boy can't go to this school because he's a boy. They should be allowed to go to school and learn either way. It's their right as children.